In today's video, I'm reviewing a 2014 Jeep Compass. This is the first generation model of the Compass, which was produced from 2007 to 2016. In 2017, Jeep released an all-new second generation model. Now, the Jeep Compass, along with the Jeep Patriot, were kind of a new idea for the Jeep brand when they were first introduced back in 2007. Because the Jeep brand has always been known for producing very off-road capable vehicles and appealing to a very select demographic within the market. With the introduction of the Patriot and the Compass, Jeep was looking to broaden the buyer base of the brand, bring a lot of new first-time buyers in, and then also offer vehicles that were more fuel efficient, and thereby kind of broadening the overall buyer base for the brand. And so while the Jeep Compass looks like an SUV, much like many other small compact SUVs on the market today, it's essentially a car that's designed to look like an SUV. And while it does have four-wheel drive, it's not super capable, but for most buyers, they're not really looking to take the vehicle off-road. They're looking more for that image. And so the Jeep Compass offers a little bit of that rugged off-road look, but also with great fuel economy. So the Compass name was first introduced back in 2002 in the form of a two-door all-wheel drive concept vehicle, which had a much more rugged appearance than the production version of the Compass. Got really good reviews and feedback. But unfortunately, when they actually came around to producing the Compass, it lost a lot of the character that you got in that original concept vehicle. And that's not all that unordinary, given that concept vehicles tend to be a little bit less conventional than production vehicles. But at the same time, I wish it would have kept some of the same character that that vehicle had. And I do think overall the basic template of the Compass is pretty good, but it's just not put together in a nice clean package the way I would like to see it. There's just a few things that are a little bit awkward about it, and kind of seems like it takes the design of a few different vehicles and kind of mashes it all together rather than having one clean, seamless design. Now, they did do a minor refresh in 2011 that cleaned it up a bit. The original grille on the Compass was a little bit unsightly, and in 2011 they mimic the Grand Cherokee grille, which you see here. That vehicle is hugely popular, and with the addition of this new grille, gives the Compass a much more upscale appearance than the older versions. And so that was a good starting point. And again, like I said, I think there is a really good starting point with the Compass. There's just a few design cues that I think look really good, but the overall implementation just doesn't quite put it all together. I think one thing that would do a lot for the Compass is putting a larger set of wheels and tires on it, maybe lifting the vehicle up a bit. But again, by doing that, you're going to lose out on a little bit of that fuel economy and car-like driving. But it would be interesting to see if others have done that. Might do a little Google search and see what I can find. Now, the second generation Compass that came out in 2017, again, started with the same template of this vehicle. And with that new model, I think it came out really nice. It's got a great appearance. The Compass was available in a few different trim packages. So you could choose between the base Sport package, they had a Latitude model, Limited, and an Altitude. And then they had a 70th anniversary edition in 2011, which was the 70th anniversary edition was across the lineup, so they had a version for each of their vehicles. This is the Sport model, which is the base, and offers a fairly stripped down vehicle. There are a few options, including a Boston Acoustics premium sound system with 368 watt external amplifier, air conditioning, and an electronic vehicle information system, which lets you know what the miles per gallon are, miles to empty, service intervals, tire pressure, etc. Obviously, those are some pretty basic options. Most vehicles come standard with those, but the price point on the Compass is very competitive, starting at about $14,000, and so you know, it kind of matches the segment a little bit in that sense. If you want lots of options, that's why they've got some of their higher end models. Checking out the interior of the Compass, you'll see that it's a pretty simple overall look. Again, this is essentially an entry-level vehicle, so the price point is very competitive on these vehicles. And so with that, you don't get a ton of options, but overall it's still got a pretty nice interior. And it's got a lot of features that young buyers would appreciate. So it's got a great sound system, audio controls on the steering wheel, and just a nice simple overall design. Seats are pretty comfortable. It's got a 4-wheel drive lock button right here. The Compass can be had in either front-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, but the 4-wheel drive is really more of an all-wheel drive system. And with the 4-wheel drive lock, what it does is locks it in 4-wheel drive. So the all-wheel drive activates on its own, and so if the vehicle senses that it's slipping, then it'll shift into, or transfer power to the rear wheels rather. But by pulling that button, you can automatically lock it into 4-wheel drive. Beyond that, not a whole lot to see here. Basically a very entry-level vehicle. Does come with power door locks and windows. Door handles up here on the top, again, gives it a more rugged look. And then jumping in the back. Again, not a whole lot to see back here. It is fairly spacious. So I'm 5'10", plenty of leg and headroom. So it's definitely got a lot of space. Give you another view of the front from the back seat here. Very attractive interior, even though again it's a pretty simple vehicle. It's got a nice clean overall look to it. The seats do pull down, so both sides fold flat. Gives you that ability to get additional cargo that's more oversized into the back of the vehicle. When we open up the rear hatch, you see it's actually a fairly spacious rear area. So that's one of the great things about the Compass, is that it really nicely balances that fuel economy, the small size, car-like driving characteristics, SUV-like look, but you also get a pretty good amount of cargo. So it is a pretty, good overall vehicle in terms of just being very practical. Kind of checks all the boxes of what you want in a vehicle for someone that's got a very active lifestyle. Wants to get good fuel economy, but still have plenty of cargo space, room for their passengers, and a nice sound system for road trips. The first generation Compass is offered in either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, with either a 2-liter 4-cylinder or a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder on front-wheel drive models, and just the 2.4-liter on 4-wheel drives. Both are available with either a 5-speed manual, a CVT, or a 6-speed automatic. Horsepower ranges from 158 to 172. Fuel economy, depending on engine and transmission, ranges from 20 to 23 in the city and 23 to 30 on the highway. My first impression getting into the Compass is that it actually has a pretty nice feel overall. While it's not really a true SUV, and you saw on the exterior that styling-wise they kind of try to make it look like an SUV, likewise on the interior, the Compass does the same, and it feels like an SUV even though I'm essentially in a pretty small vehicle. I like the overall design and feel of the vehicle. And in terms of drivability, the Compass actually offers pretty good driving characteristics. Definitely not like your Jeep Wrangler in terms of kind of sloppy suspension and steering that's got a kind of vague, loose feel to it with a lot of play. Rather, the Compass offers a pretty good balance of capability through corners and on bumpy roads, and the steering has a nice tight feel to it. The one area that I'd say that the Compass definitely lacks is in the powertrain. It feels very inadequate when you're accelerating hard, and the transmission shifts a little bit hard as well. again, given the price point on the Compass, you wouldn't necessarily expect it to be really refined, but at the same time, it's something that's worth noting. So while I'm not crazy about the styling on the original Compass, they did clean it up quite a bit in 2011 with the refresh, and overall the Compass still offers a pretty compelling argument for somebody that's looking to get into a four-wheel drive with a pretty spacious cabin and decent fuel economy at a very competitive price. And so for that reason, the Compass does have a lot to offer. If you have any comments or questions, leave those in the section below. For more car reviews, subscribe to my channel. In the meantime, thanks for watching.